All right, so I'm going to walk you through how to use the Amplify population simulation. The ecosystem that we're using is probably going to change throughout time, but I'm going to model for you how to use this one in the middle called 3 populations. To access it, you just have to click on that circle, and when you first enter the simulation, it's going to give you this really large overhead view. Some cool things that you can do, you can use the magnifying glasses down in the bottom left corner to zoom in and get a closer view of what's happening in that population or community, and then you can also zoom back out. When you're zoomed in, you can click on a single organism. They're sometimes hard to track down, and it starts tracking it. You know that you're tracking it because it has this little black box, and it's going to give you details of what that organism is doing. It tells me right now how many energy storage molecules it has left, and if it is increasing or decreasing. It was just eating, now it's kind of roaming around, and you can follow it until it eventually dies. The simulation does have the organisms disappear over time, and so it's kind of interesting. You can click on the little teal wee bugs, you can click on the green leaf plants, or you can click on these blue furbills to track them. Another thing you can do is show or hide the energy storage molecules. These are kind of like the life bars in a video game or the health bars. When they are full, when those cylinders are full of the orange color, that means that your organism has a lot of energy. And as that orange level decreases, your organism is losing energy and it either needs to eat or it might be passing away pretty soon. You can pause the simulation by clicking the pause button and restart it by clicking play at any time. You can speed up or slow down the movement of the creatures by choosing these options right here. The decimals are going to be slower, and then ×2 is going to be double speed. So here they are at 0.25, they're moving rather slow, and I can speed it up to 0.2 and let more time pass. One of the benefits of using the ×2 is that if you want to get data over a longer time period, you can run it faster. There's different things that you can track. You can track absolutely nothing, or you can track eating. I'll click play and we can see what happens there. And so you can see that the ones that are eating are brighter in color, and then the ones that are not eating are not bright in color. We can track the animals that are dying, which means they are nearing the end of their life. They might be running out of energy, things like that. You can reset the time. So at certain activities, it's going to ask you to run it for only a certain amount of time. So this arrow in the top right corner will reset the simulation for you, take you from the start. Some of the other tools that you can do, you can use this arrow on the right-hand side to change manually the number of organisms. You can increase or decrease the plants, called the green leaves, the little teal worms, called the wee bugs, or the blue rats, called the furbills. You can also lock the number that they are in place, which prevents it from changing in size, to see how that changes, but you can only change one at a time. You can also change the oxygen level. We're not going to be using that just yet, but it might be helpful in the future. Another thing that we're going to ask you to do is click the Analyze button. Now, when you click the Analyze button, it's going to give you this nice graph. So I'm going to reset right over here. That way it plays through time. And the Analyze button, it looks like it only shows you the amount of time that you ran your population. So we need to go back here. Right now, I only ran it for 14 seconds. So my graph is only showing me 14 seconds worth of worth of changes. So if I want to have a better looking graph, I'm going to want to run it for a longer amount of time. And I might want to even speed up that process. That way it goes even faster. So now I can see that I ran it for 40 seconds. So my graph shows me 40 seconds of time. There's a ton of data right over here that tells you how many died, how many were born, how many energy storage molecules they had, things like that. If you ever want to change the one that you're using, you can click on, we'll call it the hamburger menu, these 3 lines right up here. Right now I'm on the middle simulation. If I were to go to number 6, this one is just a little bit more advanced. I think the last thing that I want to point out how to view is the food web. This one's really interesting. You click on there's 4 circles that are all connected right down here. And this shows you what eats what in our ecosystem. The orange number at the bottom is the energy storage molecules that are currently being used or present in those organisms. Right now, my simulation is running, so those numbers are changing. But if I click pause, it'll pause that. So at this time, I can see that I have 106 green leaves, I have 110 wee bugs, and I have 35 furbills. But if I click play, that number will change. If there's anything else, I will add to this video later on. But for now, I think that that's going to be it.